Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to For the People and By the People with your host, Laura Pugh. As promised from last week with Memorial Day here, this isn't going to be a normal, typical episode. It's actually going to be short, and at the end of it, I hope you do. Stay tuned through the end, because after it, there's a video that I found that really emulates what Memorial Day is about. And honestly, the first time I saw it, even now, as I keep watching it over and over again, it still brings a tear to my eye. And again, it's something that really dedicates itself to the true meaning of Memorial Day and why it is so precious in our American culture. You know, we have Memorial Day. I believe it started after the Civil War, when people started, at Arlington National Cemetery, they started decorating the gravestones with, ribbons and, flowers of those that had passed away from the North and South. And, it was a little hostile between the North and South during that time. I believe it was called Decoration Day. Correct me if I'm wrong in comments. I believe that was the title of it during that time, but it wasn't until World War I and World War II, especially after World War II, when it wasn't about the North and South anymore. It was about Americans fighting for America, for American values, which I find incredibly important, as shall all of you. We celebrate this day. And I've heard a lot of people state that don't say Happy Memorial Day. Don't say Happy Memorial Day. There's nothing happy about those that died. Now, I read a book. I believe it's called the Balinese Way of Mending a Broken Heart or something. Don't quote me on that. But what it talked about was Bali and how they celebrate death. Instead of a funeral and crying and everything like that, what they do is actually hold a parade for those people who died, because they want to celebrate their accomplishments throughout life, which I don't find any problem with. I think it's very healthy. Don't get me wrong. Your immediate loved one, suddenly dies, or not even suddenly, anyone that who passes away that holds a string in your heart, you're going to mourn, and it's absolutely 100% healthy. But it's also healthy to celebrate what they've done. And for Memorial Day, I'm okay with saying Happy Memorial Day. We are Happy Memorial Day to everyone, because of those people that gave the ultimate sacrifice through the Revolutionary War, Civil War, Korean War, Vietnam War, the Cold War, Gulf War, Iraq War. I'm sure I'm missing some wars in there, but it doesn't mean that we should just hate the fact that they died for us. Sacrifice is what it is. Wars come with sacrifice. To be able for our liberties to be preserved in our country, for us to still be able to be free to speak, free to arm ourselves, to defend ourselves, freedom of property, it does take sacrifice. And I don't like it, but that is the truth. So not only do I thank those men and women that gave the ultimate sacrifice, I appreciate it so much. And for any of the Gold Star families that suffer through it day in and day out, Memorial Day is just another day for them. They suffer through this constantly, and I get it. So what I did, and this is something that I normally don't like to do, is kind of write out a script for myself of what to say, but I didn't want to, I wanted to make sure that it was right there in front of me, and then afterwards, what I'm going to do is go into more than a few names that were killed in action, and those that we need to honor. There are many, many others, don't get me wrong. These people are no more important than the people that I don't name. But these heroes were ones that I was able to be not in contact with, but those who were in contact with that wanted their names out there. So I put them down. I'm going to list them to honor them. And again, after this, there's going to be a video that I found on YouTube that really, I mean, it hits the nail right on the head of what Memorial Day is about. So please stay tuned for that. It's nothing of my own editing. I found it on YouTube. I've seen other Memorial Day YouTube videos that really do a fine job, but this one it really got to me. So I really need to share it to you. I think it would be a disservice if I didn't. So here we go. Again, very quick video today. I hope you enjoy it. This weekend we come together to remember the brave that stood in front of an aristocrat command, the men that stood for God's inalienable rights, the men that fought in the Revolutionary War, the men that fought in the Civil War, the men who fought for equality during the birth of the Constitution, the men who fought for the Bill of Rights, the men lost in World War II and World War I and World War II, the men lost in the Korean War, the men lost in the Vietnam War, and the men and women that was lost in the Iraqi War. It is something unimaginable to common civilians, but their lives carry on through family, history, books, and eternal light. I will be forever in debt to those I stood before that never came home. Today, we thank God for the courage of those gone, for without them I could not write these words, our flag would not wave, and our anthem would not be sung. And as George S. Patton had stated, it is foolish and wrong to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God that such men lived. And I think that is just an incredible quote. Again, I mean, that's all I wrote. I don't think anything more needs to be written on it. Those honoring today, or that we honor today, among everyone else that, again, paid the ultimate sacrifice. A lot of them are Army cats. I don't know the specific rank acronyms with them. I do have it written on a separate sheet, so if I kind of stutter a little bit along the way, please, I apologize. I'm a Navy girl, so I'm not familiar, but I'm going to do the best I can in the most honorable way, the most respectful way for them and their family. And if I mispronounce a name, I do apologize. Again, nothing disrespectful. I'm just trying to do the best I can. Sergeant Dan Woodcock, killed in action March 2007 in Iraq. Specialist Roberto Cosser, killed in action July 2007, Iraq. Sergeant Joshua Morley, Specialist Tracy Willis, killed in action August 2007, Iraq. Specialist Lester Barancini, killed in action November 2006, Iraq. Lieutenant Michael Cerrone, killed in action November 2006, Iraq. Specialist Ryan Bell, Staff Sergeant Dutch Estes, Specialist Corey Coster, Doc Boyd, Sergeant Andrew Perkins, Sergeant Robert Stanley, Specialist Justin Rollins, killed in action March of 2007, Iraq. Sergeant Clayton Don, killed in action May 2007, Iraq. Staff Sergeant Justin Bauer, killed in action January 2009, Iraq. Lieutenant Luke James, Staff Sergeant Buster Kinney, Sergeant Corey Marcel, killed in action January 2004, Iraq. Corporal Brad Davis, killed in action April 2009, Iraq. Sergeant Buck Winkler, killed in action November of 2006, Iraq. Sergeant First Class Jeffrey Kettle, killed in action August 2000 in Afghanistan. This one is EA2 Dennis Fink. He passed on December 23rd of 2013. Now, he was not killed in action, but, you know, a war hero all the same. Served in Vietnam in 1968 in Da Nang and in 1969 in Dong Ha, two tours in Vietnam. So we give a special tribute to all of those listed. Again, this isn't just those brave men that I named. This is about everyone that gave that ultimate sacrifice. And I cannot be more grateful to what they gave this nation, for them to preserve our rights that we hold today. I get it. We like to barbecue. It's a long weekend. A lot of us do this, and we shouldn't feel guilty for doing it. You know, they gave us this chance to be able to be free Americans, to be able to have a long weekend, you know, to be able to have a cookout with our friends and family in honor of them. Don't think that no one's not honoring them if they have a barbecue, if they drink a beer. I'm all for it. I love it. In fact, just last night, me and the kids, I got a tent and put it out in the backyard, and we had a great movie night, you know, with a nice little projector and everything. But I don't see this happening in other countries that fought like ours, to where we can do this. Just be so free to do whatever we want, to say whatever we want, to have property. These are rights that they fought for. And, you know, even in today's wars, they still died for the same Constitution that those prior. They're revered. And we need to remember that. And we need to respect it. Well, I wish everyone a happy Memorial Day. I will see you next week. There's a bunch of news topics that I want to go over. But until then, again, happy Memorial Day. Stay tuned. There's a video coming up that I think you will all just love and just gain a new appreciation. Not an appreciation. A new, maybe restored, revitalized, however you want to characterize it. I love you all. God bless you, and God bless the United States.
It is, in a way, an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country, in defense of us, in wars far away. The imagination plays a trick. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise. We see them as something like the founding fathers, grave and gray-haired. But most of them were boys when they died, and they gave up two lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. We owe them a debt we can never repay. All we can do is remember them, what they did, and why they had to be brave for us.